Pahdopony.
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 Everybody want to say hello?
Hello.
All right, and then we also have Harry. And is it Mithlo? Am I saying that
Mithlo.
correctly? Everybody want to say hi to Mr. Mithlo. And I'd also like to introduce, it's John Hitchcock. Sorry, Hitchcock. Sorry. So Mr. Hitchcock is here. And does anybody know who this gentleman is? All right, well, this is Mr. Blutzow. He's from our school district office. And he's an amazing person that you'll want to get to know too. So at this time, I'm going to let you guys take over.
Pahdopony. Sobeskenapuni. Nananetsa Juanita Pahdopony. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name's Juanita Pahdopony. I'm so happy to be here with you today and share culture. I understand we have 35 minutes. I think we're going to have enough to tell you 2 stories. I'll tell you a story, and then Harry will tell you a story. But first I want to tell you a little bit about my background. I'm Comanche. I'm from Oklahoma, which is a long way from here. The landscape is very different because I live on the plains. The land is so flat, I can see the sun come up in the morning, and I can see it travel all across the sky, and I can see it set in the evening. So it's a very different landscape than you have here. But I wanted to introduce myself in a traditional Comanche way, which is to tell you that on my mother's side, my mother was a descendant of the last chief of Comanches, Quan Parker. There's a lot of Quan Parker descendants for Quan Parker because he had 8 wives. Can you imagine? In his lifetime, he had 8 wives. So a lot of children from those families. But Quan Parker, the Powhatan band, descended from the Powhatan band, and we were the people that lived in the Texas Panhandle back in the 1800s, and back in time. On my father's side, my father was, of course, related to the Pahdoponies and the Maddoxes on his mother's side. So the story came from how the Pahdoponies got their name was a warrior was on the bank of a very fast-moving body of water, and the band was there. The band was a group of families. We know today that bands were families. So the families were on the side of this fast-moving, raging body of water, wanting to know how could they get across to the other side safely. And in the band were young people, older people, middle-aged people. There were warrior, strong people, and then those that were not so strong, because how can we get across this river? So my ancestor, and what my ancestor's name was before, I have no idea, because we've lost that name in time. But my ancestor went across the water, and I like to imagine on horseback with a long staff, finding the highest place in the water, and a place where everybody could cross the river safely. And when everybody got to the other side, then a leader gave my ancestor that name. Pahdopony is how you pronounce it in Comanche. Can you say that? Pahdopony.
Pahdopony.
Perfect. Perfect. You said it like a Comanche, which means see how deep the water is. And in a Comanche's lifetime, they may have a lot of names. Maybe called baby in Comanche for a number of years before they did something that was brave, or they did something that was unusual, or something about how they looked. Then they would have a name like that. But my ancestor got a name because of a very brave deed. So I thought maybe I would tell you one story, and then I'll turn it over to Harry Mithlo, and he'll tell you a story. But my story is fat ball and meatball. And it has to do with the Comanche people. We lived on the plains. We were nomads. We were the Indians that you think about in history that rode on horseback and hunted buffalo and hunted antelope. We lived hunters and gatherers on the plains. We didn't have a whole lot of things. We lived on horseback and in teepees. So we were on the move all the time. Well, the Comanches didn't waste anything either. We slayed a buffalo, and we used every part of that buffalo. We used the skin for our, could be our clothing, our shelter. We used the meat that we could also dry and preserve. We used it in soups. We used the bones for tools. Sorry, and then virtually every single thing, even the tail was used as a fly swatter. So every single thing on the buffalo was used. The horns could be a ladle to scoop up things. We didn't waste. Have you ever heard that quote, waste not and want not? Well, the Comanches, for them, it applied to them. But this is a story of a long time ago when the animals could talk. A long time ago when the animals could talk, Fat Ball and Meat Ball were rolling around on the plains, rolling together, and they were friends. They rolled around a bend, around the little waterway, and they noticed something far up. Something was ahead something over the hill. Do you see that? There was something over there that they could see that was something was in the way. Wonder what that is. Well, they both, well, let's go up and see. So they rolled over and they rolled over and they rolled over to this, and they could see it was Coyote. Coyote was on his back with his feet up in the air, and his eyes, his big yellow eyes were looking so sad, and he opened up one eye. And they said, Coyote, what's wrong with you? Coyote said, brothers, I'm so thin, look at me. I'm so thin, and I haven't eaten for days, and I'm so hungry, my stomach is at my backbone. Do you think you could give me just a little bit of bite? Just give me a bite? And so Fat Ball and Meat Ball looked at each other, and they decided, okay, yeah, sure will. So Fat Ball rolled over to Coyote. Coyote was very weak, but he reached up and took a bite of Fat Ball and chewed, oh, yummy. And then the other rolled up to him, Meatball, and he took a bite of Meatball and just chewed that up. It was so delicious, so delicious. And so, you know what? They felt pretty good about themselves. They felt the brother Coyote. So they rolled along. They went around the bend again, and oh, there's something else in the road. No, it can't be. There was another coyote on his back again, looking pitiful, starving looking. He says, brothers, I'm so hungry I could eat a bear. And wait a minute, didn't we just see you back there? No, that wasn't me. Oh, okay, well, please give me a bite. I'm just so hungry. I'm so starving. I haven't had a meal in 3 days. Do you think you could just share just one bite with me? Fat Ball and Meat Ball. Little Yop, that's okay, that was their name. Little Yop rolled up to him and says, okay, Coyote, take one bite. Are you sure you're not fooling us? No. So he got a bite of Fat Ball. He got another bite of Meat Ball, and they rolled on. They rolled on down by the stream, around the bend, and through the woods, and no way, there's something else. That can't be. I know that Coyote is fooling us. I know that's the same Coyote. So they rolled up, and there was Coyote again, looking all scruffy and thin, pitiful looking. And so they said, I think you're fooling us. We saw you back there 2 times. I think you're the same Coyote. And he opened his eyes and looked up and says, no, that wasn't me. And when he said that, there was meat hanging from every one of his sharp teeth. So Meatball and Fat Ball ran. They ran. They rolled up the hill. They rolled down the hill. They rolled around the bend. And they rolled to a place where down below was a little pond. And they rolled and they rolled, and they ran into the pond where they dissolved. And all the animals came to partake of this very rich soup. The end.
My name is Harry Mithlo. I'm from the Benetook Comanche band, and I'm half Cherokee Apache. My family from the Apache side came from the southeastern Arizona. I'm a descendant from Warrior Fun, and he was one of the men that was fighting against the United States that was trying to take our land in Arizona. And he was eventually taken as a prisoner of war with Chief Naichi and Geronimo. On the Comanche side, I'm kin to many people on the Comanche side, but we descended from a medicine man named Wachi Mamsakawa, and he was from the Honey Eater band. We're known as Honey Eaters. We came from the mountain area of Texas. What is it? Hill country. Texas hill country, and we come from Louisiana border all the way down into Chihuahua, Mexico. And we were the first group of Comanches to encounter the invaders coming into the United States, which were mainly the Spaniards. And also our band was the first group that went south into the jungles of Central America. We encountered some people that lived in the trees there. And we didn't know who they were or whatever. But the first encounter was with these people that lived in the trees. They seen these men or whoever they were hanging in these trees, and they motioned for them to come and let's talk, you know. And they asked them, "Who are you?" They wanted to know who they were. And they didn't say nothing. They just hung up there on a tree looking at them and didn't say anything back to them. So the Comanches give them a name, and we called them Quasitaibo. And that means the white man with the long tail. And that was the first time we didn't know what they were, but later on they were the first monkeys we ever seen. And so the Pennsylvania people, we controlled all the southern border of Texas. And we later on became known as the Lords of the Southern Plains. I'm going to tell you two stories today. Did you tell two or one?
Oh, one, but we have 35 minutes.
All right, 35 minutes, not very long. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about why or how come the prairie dog barks. Everybody know what a prairie dog is, right?
Yeah.
Seen them in the book, newspaper, or someplace on the news, at the zoo. But the Comanches have a good story about the prairie dog and why he barks. A long time ago, when the animals could talk, there was a little man on the prairie about this tall, about this big around, and he was a prairie dog, and he used to know everything that was going on the prairie. He would travel with different groups of bands of Indians going across the prairie this way and that way. And then some days he said he even seen wagon trains coming across. And he would follow these wagon trains, and he knew everything about what they were talking about. He knew how to read a newspaper. He even learned some of their songs and stuff as he was going back and forth across the prairie. And the prairie dogs were all over the place. They were everywhere. And this man, he would follow the wagon trains, and he could eat on the way as he was going and went as far as he could go. And one day he decided he would follow this one wagon train as far as the sunset. And so he started going west with them. And then he got so far away he couldn't even recognize his own countryside where he lived. So he said, "Well, I'm going to sit down here and take a break and get a good night's rest. And then tomorrow I'm going to take off and go back home." So during the night he slept. The next morning, he was still sleeping when the sun was just starting to come up. And and during the early mornings, a herd of buffalo were coming over the hilltops. And they didn't see him in the tall grass lying there asleep. And one of the big buffaloes was walking and didn't even see him. Next thing you know, prairie dog jumped up real hard, and all he could do was, "Bow! Bow! Bow!" And he just ran around there holding his tail. The buffalo didn't see him, stepped on his tail and hurt him so bad all he could do was just bark. He couldn't talk anymore. He lost his voice. And so the buffalo said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you lying in the grass," he said. "If I did, I would have went around you, but I didn't see you, and I'm sorry I stepped on your tail. But when we get through going south and we'll go back north," he said, "we have some medicine that I can get, and I'll bring it back with me the next time I come down, and I'll give it to you, and you'll be able to talk again and sing and holler and have a good time." And so the buffalo went off and told him, "I'll see you next year." And the buffalo left. And that's why prairie dog barks now.
Tell me how much more time we have.
We got about 20 minutes.
Oh,
Just
great.
right. It's just right. Well, you got a question, and she's got a
Yes.
question?
Anybody have questions?
Yeah.
We're here to answer them.
Can we have like an autograph for you, from you?
Of course, we'd be
Later.
honored.
I have one question.
Yes.
Carrie, what inspired you to draw Dance of the Ancient Ones?
What? You have to
Could you
ask.
say it
What
again?
inspired you to draw Dance of the Ancient Ones?
What inspired you to draw Dance of the Ancient Ones?
Yes, the Dance of the Ancient, when she saw it and asked him.
Oh, you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, the ancient one is a special gift that's given to different men, and not everybody can do that dance. And the ancient one appears to different people at different times, and we call them mountain gods. And the young man that's helping me write a book about my dad's life, his name is Tony Beasley. He has seen the mountain god. It's something that I drew and I painted it because it's familiar to me. It's something that we do automatically all the time, every year. And we have this dance that we do every year. And it's a celebration time. And it's also a spiritual time, and it's a time for healing. And these mountain gods are the ones that give us this gift of healing. And the man that's helping me write the book, his name is Tony. He's from St. Joe, Missouri. He has seen the mountain god. He's seen it himself. And the reason he's seen it, because I told him where to go in Arizona, to the Chiricahua Mountains. He has a disease that was known as Parkinson's disease. And he was shaking all the time. His hand was always moving, and he could never stop it. He had to hold his hand to even drink coffee. And while he was there, I told him where to go. He said, "I went up that road, but he can walk and everything, but he just can't hold things real good," and he was shaking. And I told him where to go. And he's seen this orb out in the sky. It was up in the sky. I don't know if you guys believe stuff like that, but we have supernatural things that come to us and tell us stuff. Sometimes we see them, sometimes they come into us as a dream. And Tony seen this orb, and it was up in the sky, and he said he was amazed by it. He'd never seen anything like it. And it was turning 2 different colors, he said, and they were real bright, and they would go out, shoot out. One color was green, and he just flashed. Another color was gold, and it would flash out. And I don't know if one of the dancers that I drew of those ancient ones, I don't think he's on there. But one of the dancers is green, and he's painted gold. Another time he painted gold with green on it. But we don't have a word for gold, so we use yellow. I don't know if one of the dancers was yellow and green or green and yellow. But that was one of the deals that he seen. And he watched the orb move into the forest, and he could hear the jingles of these dancers, the dresses, and he seen the trees go from left to right, and they never broke. None of them ever broke, and they straightened back up after they went deeper into the woods. And today, Tony doesn't shake anymore. So there's a lot of healing behind that. And that's what inspired me to do that.
I have a story for you, a quick story, and it's about how Turtle got a cracked shell. Did you ever notice that Turtle looks like he has designs on the back of his shell?
Yes.
Well, Wakaday is our name, the Comanche name for turtle. Can you say Wakaday? Wakaday. Gotta roll those R's. Wakaday. Perfect. Wakaday was walking around slowly around Cache Creek, a little creek that we have near my town, Lawton, Oklahoma. And Cache Creek was pretty that day, but the weather was changing. It was starting to be cold. We noticed that it was starting to be cold. And Wakaday was noticing the birds. They were more excited than usual. They were chirping and making noises, tweeting, and they were so active. And so Wakaday, he said, well, hey, what's going on? Something exciting is happening. I see it. So he tried to talk to the birds, and they fly down, they were just all excited. And they said, well, the weather's changing, and we're getting ready to go south. We're getting ready to fly to a place where there's food growing in the trees. There's berries and good, delicious food that are growing on bushes. There's food everywhere. We're going south. You know what? It might have been Florida. We're going to a wonderful place. It's just wonderful. And even during the wintertime, the weather's perfect. The sun is out. It's just warm all the time. We're going there. Turtle said, can I go? You can't go. You're a turtle, and you walk around on the earth, and we can fly, and you can't fly. Oh, please take me. Is there any way you could take me? He asked several birds. No, I don't know how we could take you. You're a turtle, and you walk, and we fly, and we're getting ready to leave. We're probably leaving tomorrow. Poor turtle started crying and begged, please, if there's any way you could take me. Well, some birds felt sorry for him, and they wondered how could they possibly take Turtle. So finally, two of them were talking, and they decided, well, can you keep your mouth shut? Oh, yes. Some people say that if I bite down on something, I won't let go until it thunders. Yes, I can keep my mouth shut. Okay, we want to, if you can keep your mouth shut, then maybe we might be able to take you. So two birds said, we've got to go, we've got to find something, a long stick. So two of them flew, and they brought back a long stick, and they put it before Wakaday. And they said, well, come up here. You bite in the middle of this stick, okay? Take a bite, keep your mouth shut. And then each bird flew to the other side of the stick. They grabbed hold of the stick. This one grabbed hold of the stick. And they tried flapping their wings, and they were able to fly up a little bit. Yeah, they could get going. And so they went up in the air. My gosh, Turtle saw things he had never seen before. He saw the tops of trees. He could look down and see the ponds. He could see everything. It was wonderful. He had never been up this high before, up near the clouds, flying, looking at everything. Oh my gosh, look at everything. And he'd look up and he'd see the bottoms of the birds and see their wings flapping. Oh, it was wonderful. It's wonderful. So look at it and begin to think, I wonder when we're going to get there. I wonder how long this trip is going to take. I wonder how long it'll be before we get there. I'm so excited. It's going to be food everywhere. I can't wait to get there. And it's warm. So they flew and they flew. And they flew and they flew. And after a while, this sure is taking a long time. Oh, I wish I could get their attention. And he would look up and look at the birds and still, they wouldn't notice him. So he began rolling his eyes in a circle. They didn't look down. So he began flapping those turtle feet in a circle and rolling his eyes, and still they didn't look down. He began wagging his little tail. He did everything. He was moving, making all kinds of motions, but still the birds did not look down. Hey, and Turtle fell, and he fell down. He came down through the air, and boom! Thank goodness he landed in a pond, because he swam down to the bottom of the pond, and he had to stay there for the whole season for his shell to heal, because it was all cracked. And that's how Turtle has a cracked shell. Questions of Harry? Yeah.
What is your favorite thing to do in your culture?
What's my favorite thing to do?
In your culture.
I love to dance. I love to dance in the regalia and celebrate the culture and enjoy the many things that we have. But dance is really a very pretty and colorful, enjoyable activity for me. Thank you. All right. Yes.
How many gods do the natives worship?
Do we what?
How many gods do the natives worship?
How many gods? The Comanche believed in one God. We said the Great Spirit, the creator of all things. So we had one God. Yes.
What are you most proud of about your heritage?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I love our history. I so love our history of being people that were horse culture, people that hunted buffalo, hunted antelope. You know, that's kind of thrilling to me. And people that lived in a teepee. And I love to think about the Comanche that we hunted and gathered on the plains, that we didn't stay in one place. We were always on the move. That's what I love. Yes?
What was your inspiration to do that one piece that was, I believe, your grandmother?
Oh, yes, thank you for asking about that. That is a picture of my grandmother when she was 16 years old and beautiful. She had long hair, and she used to braid it. But my grandmother was somebody who taught me many things. She was able to do a lot of beadwork. She could make the feather work for the war dancer. She knew how to do that. She collected art. She wasn't an artist like you would think of a painter or a sculptor, but she collected other people's art. And I remember seeing art on her wall, and that was a thrill for me to see art. It's my earliest memory to see art. I have a memory of being 2 years old, looking up on the wall in a crib and seeing a print, a German print. Now I know it's a German print of an angel. Maybe you've seen it, an angel with her arms out like this, and there are two little kids walking across a rickety bridge. Who's ever seen that before?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, like that. I remember trying to, and in those days when I was a kid, people put their art way up on the wall, and I remember tiptoeing and just trying to get as close to that as I could, but it was way up on the wall. And now we know, put them at eye level so we can look across and look at them. Okay, another question.
What is your favorite tradition to do?
Tradition. I wish that I could be a fluent Comanche speaker, because I introduced myself and told you my name. Nanani, it's Juanita Pahdopony. But I'm not a fluent speaker, but I grew up hearing people speak to each other. Just nothing but Comanche. That's one of my favorite things about it. But because today it's very rare, you don't hear too many people speaking Comanche. Yes. Yes. What? Okay, it's a question for Harry. You have a very important question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you give the dancers faces?
Why didn't you give the dancers faces? They didn't have faces.
Dancers, maybe?
Yeah, on your Mount Spirit.
On the Mountain Spirit dancers? They dance during the night, so so all they have is little peepholes through their mask. And the main deal is that when PP is put up, and all these dancers, these young men like you guys, all these men get in, put their stuff on. Before they put stuff on, people see them out there by the teepee, and they all go in. And they all change, and they paint their bodies, and they put their little mask on, but they have little peepholes. And when they come back out of the teepee, and people see them getting ready to dance, they all look the same height, they all look the same because they're all painted the same color, but nobody knows who they are because of the mask. And that way, and you're not supposed to touch the dancers, and so that's why the mask is just a peephole, and nobody knows who they are. Yes, ma'am.
How do you say hello? How do you say hello?
In Apache?
Yeah.
How do you say hello in Apache?
Well, there's no greeting like that. There's no kind of greeting like that. We either ask, it's like asking us or telling, well, tell me something, you know.
Madotwe in Comanche.
Or ask me something. It's no, and it's nothing like good morning or hi, my name is so-and-so. It's not like that.
In Comanche, Madotwe is like, tell me something. You know, like you come across somebody, tell me something. And then they might answer you, well, I did this today, or what. It's kind of like a greeting, but it's not exactly like, hi, it's not like that. And do you know some tribes have no word for goodbye. And I met someone who was from the Northwest Coast, and I noticed that we had a big party, everybody was in school, we had a big party, everybody left, and I said, what happened to Cheryl? She just disappeared. And I don't know, she was this year, I don't know if she's gone. Well, you know, and I thought, that was kind of rude for her not to even say bye to us. And they said, oh no, in her culture, they don't say goodbye. Because if you say goodbye in her culture, it was like, I think I'm never gonna see you again. That's it. You know, I'm never gonna see you again. So it's not a good thing for them or in their culture to say goodbye. So, you know, we have so many different ways, so many different ways of being in different cultures that sometimes we might be offended by what somebody does, but we don't know what their culture is. So, like, I never knew there was such a thing as not saying goodbye, but, yeah.
And even the Comanches don't say goodbye.
No.
They don't say, but they do, they did tell you a statement though. They'll say, Tasanal Mabuni. That means, I'll see you down the road. Or whatever road you go, I'll see you. That means they'll be glad to see you next time.
Thank you,
never,
everybody.
never buy.
Thank you, everybody.
Here you go.